I call the member for Rockdale.
Thank you, Deputy Madam Speaker. I rise to once again raise the concerns of my constituents in Rockdale with the terrible impact of the new toll on the old M5 East. Well, the impact that the new toll on the M5 East is having on my electorate. Madam Speaker, as has recently been revealed under Freedom of Information laws by my colleague Chris Minns, since the new toll was introduced, we have seen an average of 7,500 new vehicles flooding our local roads such as Forest Road and Stony Creek Road. That's more than 300 extra cars and trucks flooding past suburban houses every single hour, or around 5 extra vehicles every single minute. The impact of this toll has been simply horrific, and I can't stress enough how much this requires urgent change. Madam Speaker, while the Transport Minister is saying that a report will be prepared 12 months after the toll's implementation, it is simply not good enough. When the North Connect was opened on the 31st of October last year, it quickly became clear that heavy vehicles and trucks were running along Pennant Hills Road to avoid the North Connect toll. When heavy vehicles were avoiding this new toll road and impacting on local roads in a Liberal Party electorate, did it take a 12-month review to see change? No, of course it didn't. It was just over a month later that the government introduced a blanket ban coupled with heavy fines for trucks trying to avoid the toll. If it's good enough for the North, Madam Speaker, it should be good enough for the South. It's as simple as that. There never should have been a toll put on the M5 East in the first place. It was built and paid for by the people of New South Wales more than 20 years ago. But if those opposite are intent on keeping this outrageous and unfair toll, the least they could do is ensure that it's actually going to be used. This will, of course, require fair compensation to trucking operators, particularly those operating out of the industrial precincts along the M5, including the port and airport. The fact that the Minister would introduce a huge new cost on trucking operators on a major freight route during the middle of a pandemic shows just how inept and out of touch this government really is. Madam Speaker, last night at a meeting of Bayside Council, Councillor Bill Saravanoski established a campaign to fight this unfair toll on our local community. The campaign committee will bring together residents, businesses and local representatives to overturn the M5 East toll and move the 7,500 cars and trucks that are invading our local streets every single day back to the motorway. Madam Speaker, unlike those opposite, Councillor Savaranoski remembers when the M5 East was open and the New South Wales Government promised that it would be toll-free and that the road would lead to fewer cars and trucks on our local streets. It's like we're living in a parallel universe, because now, 20 years later, we have more vehicles than ever on our roads and we're paying a toll that we were promised wouldn't exist. Madam Speaker, my local residents are crying out for relief. They know that what has happened is wrong and they're furious at being treated like this. Residents can feel their houses shaking as trucks drive past every minute of the day. It's easy to understand why they think that this government simply doesn't care about them, and when they can just ignore problems they've created like this. They just shouldn't just ignore these people. Madam Speaker, the government's own environmental impact statement predicted that surface traffic volumes would increase when the toll on the M5 East was introduced, but they nevertheless went ahead with this reckless and unfair decision. They knew that what they were doing would hurt people, but they did it anyway. They just don't care. What they didn't realise was just how much traffic volumes would increase by, with the actual outcome far outstripping what they predicted. To put the toll in, even knowing what would happen, was cruel. To do it based off faulty data is simply stupid. Madam Speaker, thank you to the Council and local residents for speaking up and fighting for a decent outcome. The M5 East toll is entirely unsustainable. The additional traffic volumes on surface streets are outrageous, and my community won't stop fighting. They will not stop fighting until we see the removal of this unfair toll. Thank you.